guys! Welcome back to our channel. Our topic for today is the 10 biggest earthquakes in recorded history. An earthquake is what happens when the two blocks of the earth suddenly slip past one another. The surface where they slip is called the fault or fault plane. The location below the Earth's surface where the earthquake starts is called the hypocenter, and the location directly above it on the surface of the Earth is called the epicenter. While the edges of faults are stuck together and the rest of the block is moving, the energy that would normally cause the blocks to slide past one another is being stored up. When the force of the moving blocks finally overcome the friction of the jagged edges of the fault and it unsticks, all that stored energy is released. The energy radiates upward from the fault in all directions in the form of seismic waves like ripples on a pond. The seismic waves shake the earth as they move through it, and when the waves reach the earth's surface, they shake the ground and anything on it like our houses and us. Number 10. AssamTibet, 1950. Magnitude 8.6. The 1950 AssamTibet earthquake, also known as the Assam earthquake, occurred on August 15 and had a moment magnitude of 8.6. The epicenter was located in the Mishmi Hills, known in Chinese as Kilinglong Mountains, south of the Kangri Garpo and just east of the Himalayas in the northeast frontier agency part of Assam, India. This area south of the McMahon Line and now known as Arunachal Pradesh is today disputed between China and India. Occurring on a Tuesday evening at 7:39 p.m. Indian Standard Time, the earthquake was destructive in both Assam and Tibet and an estimated 4,800 people were killed. The earthquake is notable as being the largest recorded quake caused by continental collision rather than subduction, and is also notable for the loud noises produced by the quake and reported throughout the region. This inland earthquake caused widespread damages to buildings as well as large landslides. 780 people were killed in eastern Tibet, with many villages and towns affected across Assam, China, Tibet, and India. Oscillations to lake levels occurred as far away as Norway. The total death toll is likely to be higher, as no definitive total was ever estimated. While the earthquake itself is known as the Assam earthquake, it is believed the epicenter may have been in Tibet. Number 9. Sumatra, Indonesia, 2005. Magnitude 8.6. The Sumatra earthquake was a major earthquake which occurred on March 28, 2005, located off the west coast of northern Sumatra, Indonesia. An estimated 1,300 people were killed by this earthquake, mostly on the island of Nias. The event caused panic in the region, which had recently been devastated by the massive tsunami triggered by the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake, but this earthquake generated a relatively tiny tsunami that caused limited damage. The earthquake lasted for about 2 minutes. In the 24 hours immediately after the event, there were 8 major aftershocks, measuring between 5.5 and 6.0. A debate arose among seismologists over whether this should be considered an aftershock of the December 2004 event or a triggered earthquake, as it was larger than typical aftershocks but on the same fault. On the Indonesian island of Nias, off the coast of Sumatra, hundreds of buildings were destroyed by the earthquake. The death toll on Nias was at least 1,000, with 220 dying in Gunung Sitoli, the island's largest town. Number 8. Rat Islands, Alaska, 1965. Magnitude 8.7. The 1965 Rat Islands earthquake was an 8.7 magnitude earthquake on the Richter scale. It caused uplifts in the land and released a tsunami that reached Japan. About 20,000 people died as an indirect result of this earthquake. The worst of the damage attributed to this earthquake was caused by the tsunami, reported to be about 10 meters high on Shemya Island. The wave caused flooding on Kamchatka Island, causing $10,000 in property damage. Number 7. Ecuador Coast, 1906, magnitude 8.8. The 1906 Ecuador-Colombia earthquake occurred at 3:36 p.m. on January 31st off the coast of Ecuador near Esmeraldas. The earthquake had a moment magnitude of 8.8 and triggered a destructive tsunami that is reported to have killed between 500 to 1,500 in Ecuador and Colombia. The tsunami traveled as far north as San Francisco on the west coast of the U.S. and the west to Hawaii and Japan. The tsunami took roughly 12 hours to cross the Pacific to Hilo, Hawaii. Number 6. Biobío, Chile, magnitude 8.8. The magnitude 8.8 earthquake struck at 3:34 a.m. The epicenter was located some 200 miles, 325 kilometers southwest of the Chilean capital of Santiago, and the focus occurred at a depth of about 35 kilometers below the surface of the Pacific Ocean. The earthquake resulting from the rupture of a 500 to 600 kilometer stretch of the fault that separates the South American plate from the subducting Nazca plate was felt as far away as Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Buenos Aires, Argentina. A 2014 study contended that water pressure built up between the two plates had been the catalyst. The initial event was succeeded in the following weeks by hundreds of aftershocks, many of them of magnitude 5.0 or greater. This earthquake and subsequent tsunami killed at least 521 people, with 56 missing and 12,000 injured. More than 800,000 people were displaced, with a total of 1.8 million people affected across Chile, where damages was estimated at $30 billion. A minor tsunami traveled across the Pacific, causing damage to boats as far as San Diego, California. Number 5. Kamchatka, Russia, 1952, magnitude 9.0. The main earthquake struck at 16:58 GMT or 4:58 local time on November 4, 1952. Initially assigned a magnitude of 8.2 but later revised to 9.0 in later years, a large tsunami resulted, causing destruction and loss of life around the Kamchatka Peninsula and the Kuril Islands. The tsunami also caused widespread damage in the Hawaiian Islands. Property damage was estimated at around $1 million. Some reports describe waves of over 9 meters high at Kenya Point, Ohio. A farmer on Ohio reported the loss of 6 cows to the tsunami, but no people were reported killed. Number 4. Sendai, Japan, 2011, magnitude 9.0. The 9.1 magnitude undersea megathrust earthquake occurred on March 11, 2011 at 2:46 p.m. in the northwestern Pacific Ocean at a relatively shallow depth of 32 kilometers, with its epicenter approximately 72 kilometers east of the Oshika Peninsula of Tohoku, Japan, lasting approximately 6 minutes. It was the most powerful earthquake ever recorded in Japan and the 4th most powerful earthquake in the world since modern record keeping began in 1900s. The earthquake triggered powerful tsunami waves that may have reached heights of up to 40.5 meters and which in the Sendai area traveled at 700 kilometers per hour speed and reached up to 10 kilometers inland. Residents of Sendai had only 8 to 10 minutes of warning and more than 100 evacuation sites were washed away. The snowfall which accompanied immediately after the tsunami and the freezing temperature hindered rescue works greatly. The official figures released in 2021 reported 19,747 deaths, 6,242 injured, and 2,556 people missing. Number 3. Sumatra, Indonesia, 2004, magnitude 9.1. The Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami occurred at 7:58:53 local time on December 26, 2004, with the epicenter off the west coast of northern Sumatra, Indonesia. It ruptured the greatest fault length of any recorded earthquake, spanning 1,500 kilometers. Rather than tearing the land apart all at once, the rupture started beneath the epicenter and progressed around northward along the fault at about 2 kilometers per second. The whole rupture lasted about 10 minutes. In terms of damage and loss of life, the scale of the disaster caused by the resulting tsunami was enormous. In total, 227,900 people were killed or presumed dead, with around 1.7 million displaced over 14 countries in South Asia and East Africa. The epicenter was 250 kilometers southeast of Banda Aceh, Indonesia, at a depth of 30 kilometers. Several days later, on 28 December, a mud volcano began erupting near Baratang, Andamar Islands, which is thought to have been associated with the earthquake. Japan reported no casualties or damage. The tsunami reached as far as Alaska, Chile, and New Zealand. Number 2. Prince William Sound, Alaska, 1964, magnitude 9.2. The 1964 Alaskan earthquake occurred at 5:36 p.m. on Good Friday, March 27, across south-central Alaska. Ground fissures, collapsing structures, and tsunamis caused by the 600 miles of fault ruptured at once and moved up to 60 feet and releasing about 500 years of stress buildup caused 131 deaths. The earthquake lasted 4 minutes and 38 seconds, and the magnitude 9.2 megathrust earthquake remains the most powerful earthquake recorded in North American history and the second most powerful earthquake recorded in history. Compared to the Chilean earthquake, this earthquake was less damaging. The resulting tsunami caused about $311 million in overall damage. The earthquake was felt mainly over Alaska, as well as some places in Canada, while the tsunami caused damage as far away as Hawaii. The most damage was sustained by the city of Anchorage, 120 kilometers northwest of the epicenter. Number 1. Valdivia, Chile, 1960, magnitude 9.5. The Valdivia earthquake, or the Great Chilean Earthquake, happened on May 22, 1960. Duration approximately 10 minutes. Depth 33 kilometers. Areas affected: Chile, the Pacific Rim. The earthquake that struck near Valdivia, Chile in 1960 was the most powerful tumbler in recorded history. The earthquake killed 1,655 people, caused 3,000 injuries, and left about 2 million people homeless. It also caused about $550 million damage in Chile and triggered a massive tsunami that raced across the Pacific. Waves racked coastal communities as far away as New Zealand, Japan, and the Philippines. In Hawaii, the tsunami devastated the coastal town of Hilo, killing 61 people and caused $75 million in damages, 138 deaths, and $50 million damage in Japan. And $50 million damage in Japan, 32 dead and missing in the Philippines, and $500,000 damage to the west coast of the United States. The ruptured zone of the quake was more than 1,000 kilometers long. 2 days after the initial quake, the nearby volcano Puyehue erupted, sending ash and steam up to 6 kilometers into the atmosphere over a period of several weeks. I hope that you enjoyed and learned a lot from this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.